Hi everyone, welcome to EDAN Product Showcase. My name is Evelyn. First of all, I want to express my appreciation for your attention. It's my honor being the presenter. Due to the pandemic, we have been unable to travel around and meet in person. Somehow, we also lost the chances to get notice of new product information and promote in field. But fortunately, today we got you here. Okay, let's get down to the topic. I'm gonna introduce our newly launched 3-part model, H30 Pro. I guess most of you may have the first thought that 3-part is just a 3-part. What specialty there can be, and how powerful can it be? H30 Pro. We believe it empowers CBC tests with maximum capabilities, and the H30 Pro is powerful more than you can think of. Now, let's reveal the secrets. There are major 3 light spots of H30 Pro, and there are also the major improvements and advantages compared with other products. Expanded clinical capabilities, simplified working process, and effective cost control. First of all, let's introduce the first point. H30 Pro is equipped with 21 reportable parameters and 2 RUO parameters. Once we finish the validation of PTWSD, H30 Pro will then support more than 24 parameters in total, which means that H30 Pro has the most number of parameters in the market, and it is an exclusive feature. Also, H30 Pro gives an absolute neutrophil count. There are very few 3-part models in the market that has such capability. In addition, most of 3-part doesn't have RUO parameters, but H30 Pro adds 2. One is NLR, the other is PLR. Both of them are calculated parameters, but we found there are clinical significance. NLR, we call it an upgrade parameter of WBC. It's a new way to predict cardiovascular risk. NLR is derived from the ratio of neutrophil count and lymphocyte count. We all know one of the most fundamental diagnosis uses of 3-part is to tell whether the patients are infected or not, and to distinguish the inflammation is caused by bacterial or virus. The WBC total counts, lymphocyte percentage, and neutrophil percentage are the main indicators. After research on published scientific paper, we found NLR is also an important inflammatory indicator, especially on predicting cardiovascular risk. Commonly, troponin I and NT-proBNP are the most widely used parameter to predict cardio disease, but NLR is founded as an accessible factor easier to predict cardiovascular risk. On the left side of the picture, it represents the process of thorough feedback loop and the influence on blood cells number. To further explain the loop, for example, when heart failure occurs, the adrenal glands ultimately will produce cortisol, androgens, and aldosterone. The cortisol is the main subject that changes the quantity of WBC percentage. When cortisol in blood increases, the neutrophil will increase and the lymphocyte will decrease. In other words, when cortisol increases, NLR will increase. We also found when the NLR level of patients is high, the peak level of troponin I is correspondingly high. This case means that the higher level of NLR, the more severe the degree of myocardial injury, the higher the incidence of heart failure, sudden death, and other complications of acute myocardial. Therefore, we claim that NLR is a new way to predict cardiovascular risk. Besides that, there are also numbers of research on NLR and PLR. For example, the combination monitor on NLR and PLR can play a predictive role of COVID-19. Also, there are lots of papers regarding the clinical usage of NLR and PLR. If you are interested in any of these researches, you may check the paper in details. Here, I just provide some examples for your reference. The second improvement on H30 Pro is the wider linearity range of white blood cell and platelets, especially on white blood cell. Some of the products in the market, the white blood cell linearity range is only 100 units, but H30 Pro reached 300. The wider linearity range of white blood cell is significantly important for some clinical cases. For example, the leukemia samples, though H30 Pro as a 3-part is unable to count the immature cells and distinguish the leukemia type. Providing the WBC total count to doctors is still necessary. Most of products in the market, their white blood cell linearity range is around 100 units, and their measurement range is around 150. If they encounter high white blood cell samples, it will be a complex process to get the results. Imagine that you will need to test the sample first, and then you find you can get no result on it. Then you will have to manually dilute the sample with proper dilution ratio, and then test the sample again. After that, you will still need to calculate the results based on your dilution ratio. Finally, you got your results. Such a complex process. However, if on H30 Pro, you never need to be bothered with such complex process. You can always get a result on H30 Pro because the white blood cell linearity range on H30 Pro is up to 300 and the measurement range is around 1000. The other improvements. We expand the clinical capabilities by using adaptive threshold. The adaptive threshold is widely applied on 5 parts. However, 3-part is a different story. Most of 3-part use a fixed threshold. The main drawback of the fixed threshold is that the accuracy of white blood cell differentiation will be diminished significantly, particularly on abnormal samples. I guess you must have experienced on adjusting the threshold manually. But after the adjustment, you may still confirm some inaccurate 3-part results. In the end, you are stuck in a vicious circle between unreliable results and frequent adjustment. Therefore, using the adaptive threshold is one of the ultimate solutions to ensure the performance. That's where we improve on H30 Pro. The following 2 points actually are very basic specification. H30 Pro has wide clinical adaptability due to the 10 microliters of whole blood sampling requiring. Difficult draw and pediatric samples are suitable on H30 Pro. In other words, children's hospital and pediatric department are also our target customers. The final point relates to the analysis modes. 3 analysis mode is equipped with 60 tests per hour throughput. We support whole blood mode, completely whole blood mode, and pre-dilute mode. Let's check on the instrument where to set up the analysis mode as well. To briefly summarize the first key advantage, H30 Pro expands the clinical capabilities by providing more useful parameters, wider linearity range, applying adaptive threshold, requiring small sample volume, and offering 3 analysis modes. Next key advantage. Let's talk about the operation system, which simplifies the working process. H30 Pro redesigns the whole system. It's a true user-friendly software. There is a shortcut menu bar for main function, including sample analysis, data review, control test, injection, printout, and alarm. There is also a status bar indicating the sample status and information, instrument temperature, reagent status, and connectivity status. For example, when the analyzer is running out of reagent, you may either click on the reagent icon to manage the reagent, or remove the alarm here with simply one click. The system is developed based on Android system, so you will have a similar operation experience as using your smartphone. Okay, let me show you the operation on the instrument. When the analyzer is empty, the icon will blink and the alarm turns red. Click either of the icons. You can then manage the reagent. We also try to reduce the complexity of the software and enhance the interaction experience between users and the system. H30 Pro always requires only 2 steps accessing any function. The calibration page is a good example. There are 5 subtotals under calibration, including manual calibration, auto calibration, fresh blood, and etc. But once you enter the calibration page, you can get access to all the subtotals just with a simple click, and then you access to the target one. See, it's very easy to locate the function page, right? On the result page, H30 Pro provides 2 types of flagging information, pathology and morphology. You may also click on the histogram. There will be detailed morphology flagging explanation and enlarged histogram. Let's check how it works. Also, when you click on the unfold icon, you can check on the reference bar indicating the sample status virtually. This function indicates the severity of the patient status within a glance. The other good function, instead of using barcode, H30 Pro manage reagent via RFID card. Each bottle of reagent has an individual RFID card for recognition. Each card is single usage. We can also add the distributor code in the RFID card and the instrument. Once we do that, for example, Dealer A's instrument can only recognize his or her reagent card. Dealer A can't apply his or her reagent card on Dealer B's instrument, which means H30 Pro truly protects the dealer's reagent business. H30 Pro also has the analysis recording function, the cycle counter. You can get access to it via the reagent page. Such functions summarize the counting for daily analysis and maintenance cycle. For rental business, dealers and users are easier to monitor the total counts. For service purposes, engineers may have a quick access to see if preventive maintenance are performed or not. It's a very practical function for both users and distributors. Let's check on the instrument to see where it is. It's very easy access to check the cycle counter, right? Another practical improvement on H30 Pro is the remaining reagent detection. We use double monitor, sensors, and software to detect the remaining reagent of all the routine reagents. When there is continuous big bubbles, it's the signal of reagent empty. Then sensors will give timely alarm. Simultaneously, software is counting the cycles, so the reagent consumption will be recorded. By the double monitor, the remaining reagent is well detected. The last point regarding system function. H30 Pro now can connect to various interfaces: the mouse, keyboard, USB, barcode scanner, list or heat system, external printer, and there is also thermal printer equipped. The thermal printer supports various result printouts. Let me show you what it can print. The samples. The control list. And you can also select which parameters to print out. The algebra graph as well. You may also print out the individual QC results. On the QC results, the reference bar function is supported as well. One connect with the list or heat system. H30 Pro supports HL7 protocol and its bidirectional connectivity. So those points are the second line spot where H30 Pro simplifies the working process. The intuitive operation system, the new way to manage the reagent, the easier access to count the cycles, the more accurate and effective way to detect the remaining reagent, the various options on connectivity, and the bidirectional heat and list connectivity. The last but not the least, H30 Pro has an effective cost control related to reagent and maintenance. For reagent, H30 Pro needs only 2 routine reagents. Both lyse and EDAN has up to 120 days of open shelf life. To further reduce the waste of reagent, we also add small packagings for lyse. Lyse now has 3 packagings: 200 ml one, 500 ml one, and 1 liter one. So no matter your end users has high or low daily volume, H30 Pro has the suitable packaging for them without waste. Maintenance is another point matters to end users and distributors a lot. No matter for end users or distributors, H30 Pro redesigns the system to realize the true free maintenance. H30 Pro's maintenance program is test quantity based. In other words, there will be no daily shutdown with cleaner, no bleach, no frequent maintenance, and it's a fully automatic program. Only when the continuous test cycle reaches 200 tests, the system will remind you to perform a cleaning cycle. And that's it. That's the only maintenance end users are required to do when necessary. What about for the distributors? Barely any. Let's check the maintenance table. For end users, the cleaning cycle is estimated and weekly based one, depends on the daily volume. For engineer, it's around once 3 years you will need to replace the swabs. But such frequency is projected based on 50 tests per day. If your daily volume is lower or higher, you should change the frequency proportionally. For example, if your daily test is quite low, like 20 tests per day, the frequency will extend to once 8 to 9 years. If your daily volume is 10 tests per day, you need to change the swabs once per 15 years. In other words, distributors never got to worry about the maintenance. I believe this might be the minimal maintenance you ever seen. And those are the effective cost control way on H30 Pro. I believe this is also what end users and distributors care the most. Okay, that's the overall introduction of H30 Pro. Thank you so much for your attention. Hopefully you will like it.